in this field. And now to Winnie Chebet, the other Kenyan. She's been around a long time, just off the podium in Doha. Melissa Courtney-Bryant, she got a bronze back on the Gold Coast. Came through as one of the non-automatic qualifiers, but she'll be pin sharp this evening. Winnie Nanyondo, a bronze in Glasgow over the 800 metres. She lines up next to Lyndon Hall. She was just off the podium in this event on home soil. Could she upgrade here thousands of miles away? Gemma Reekie was brilliant last season. She's been hampered this year by that glandular fever. Didn't make the 800 final, but she's here in the 15 hoping to go well. Jess Hull, she's got better and better and better. Semis in Doha, 11th in the Olympics, 7th last month in Eugene. And Lucia Stafford missed out on a place in the Olympic final last year by a whisker. But she's made the big one tonight. She will hope to ignite the Canadian fans. 5 sub-4-minute performers, a whole host of world medalists, Commonwealth medalists and European medalists. Is this the night for Muir to taste gold for Scotland? Expect the noise to grow here in the stadium. The curtain is coming down tonight on a brilliant week of athletics, and this, Tim Hutchings, is an intriguing final. And Laura Muir, the favourite, has gone straight to the back.
Laura tends to do that in races where she feels she's got the measure of the field. She will just watch proceedings. The only danger is if somebody goes down and it's slow and there's a bit of barging and pushing and somebody goes down, then Laura could get caught up in that. But at the moment, she's nice and relaxed there and back to the back. But 5 athletes in this field, Rob, have got personal bests under 4 minutes. There's plenty of quality in there that Laura Muir will need to be aware of. It's not a foregone conclusion that she will take this gold, even though on paper, after that brilliant medal in Eugene, she is strong favourite. It's pretty slow, about 50 seconds there at 300.
And that's why it's bunched. McGeehan onto the shoulder of Jess Hull. Hull's got a great chance of getting on the podium here, the 25-year-old Australian. She's just having a look up on the big screen and glances left to the Northern Irish woman. Jevicock just had her heels clipped there. And now, oh, look at this. There's plenty of bumping and barging. Chebet was trying to come wide on the outside, and so too was Abby Caldwell. But she's decided to go back into that group. And now, Tim, Laura Muir, just coming into shot, is starting to make her way through the pack. This is slow. Well,
it's very slow, Rob. It doesn't matter if you're running around the outside and an extra couple of metres around the bends. And I think Laura Muir realises that it's so slow that she might as well get out in front and begin to control things, or at least be nearer the front. That first 400, by the way, 67.82, almost 68 seconds. It's about 4:15 tempo earlier on. It's picked up a lot now, but it was very slow. They're coming now towards 800 to go. Let's see if it's hard and fast from here. Will somebody make a long challenge to try and defeat Muir?
Hull, the Australian, is still tucked in on the inside. There's been all sorts of elbows flying. It's the 2 Kenyans, Chebet and Chevitok, who keep getting their heels clipped, and now it begins to open up. That was a little bit more punchy with a 67. McGeehan looking strong there for Northern Ireland. Hall is holding that inside line, but she needs to really concentrate, the Australian, because if it moves quickly, she could suddenly find herself boxed. Laura Muir is on the Northern Irish woman's shoulder. She's in the right position here, getting ready to strike.
Well, she is perfectly positioned. Yes, it's still slow. A 67.6 second lap, 2:15 at 800 is pedestrian for an athlete of Laura Muir's calibre. Now she begins to wind it up. 500 metres out. This is what she's done, specialising in. A long drive for home, and who can match her? Straight into a slipstream. Almost immediately, Rob, almost single file. We saw this coming. There's nothing they can do about it.
Laura Muir striking for gold and striking for history for Scotland. She's gone early, 500 metres, and she has stormed to the front. Ciara McGeehan running brilliantly here, and she's got at least 20 metres on the rest. Listen to the crowd. They're willing her on. Remember, no Scottish woman has ever won this title, and McGeehan hasn't been broken yet. It's a superb run by the European bronze medalist for 2016. Now Muir's face, etched with pain, but etched with determination, and she's beginning to open up the gap here. This is a sensational run from the World Championship bronze medalist. It was a huge breakthrough last year when she finally got a global medal and became the Olympic silver medalist. And at last, after bronze at the Worlds and silver at the Olympics, it's all gold tonight for Muir. She's the Commonwealth champion. She makes history for Scotland. McGeehan with a wonderful, wonderful silver. Absolutely incredible. Muir grabbed that race by the scruff of the neck. It was so bold and so brave to go so hard with 500 to go, but she was not to be denied. She waited, she waited, she waited, and when she pounced, none of them could respond. Muir has a major gold medal at last. That was sensational, and the crowd were willing her on every single step of the way.
I think, Rob, even she thought she'd gone a little too early. She was really hurting with about 200 to go. She was working so hard coming past the 150 to go marker. McGeehan, well, that is fabulous for Northern Ireland. A bronze medal, a season's best 4:04. It's not been the best of seasons for the athlete coached by Steve Vernon. She knows that. The first Irish woman to go under 2 minutes, but she hasn't had a vintage season. It now has got a wonderful silver lining, because Northern Ireland have silver there, and the bronze going to Abby Caldwell of Australia. Lyndon Hall in 4th place, but yes, Muir ultimately a class apart, as we expected.
Great bronze for Abby Caldwell. All the Australians were beginning to queue up. She was just in front of Lyndon Hall, in fact. It was Jess Hull who ended up fading out of the 3 Australians. But Muir has been such a great ambassador for athletics in Britain and for Scotland. She's been working so hard for so many years. 5th in Beijing at the Worlds, 4th in London at the Worlds, 5th in the Worlds in Doha, 7th in Rio at the Olympics. But last year's breakthrough at Tokyo was here. 500 to go, and she suddenly put the injection in. McGeehan ran a wonderful race. She was the only one who could get anywhere close to Muir on that last lap. But that is really bold, Tim, to go with 500 to go with a really, really classy field right behind you.
Well, it is, but Laura had it clearly worked out. She and her coach Andy Young have probably talked about it and decided what was best. McGeehan got a look at her as she came past and was able to up her tempo. Almost had a little bit of warning compared with the rest of the field. But I'm surprised nobody else tried to go with this over the first couple 100 metres of it. Here she is with 200 to go. She's been blasting away for 300 metres at this point. That's why the gaps have opened up so much. You can see Gemma Reekie back in 3rd place. Reekie ended up in 5th place at the line, but here I don't think there's a great deal of difference in speed between Laura Muir and McGeehan, who ran superbly. It's a massive step up in performance from the Northern Irish runner, Ciara McGeehan. Laura Muir grimacing flat out from a long way out. She had to really work for this, but it is what we saw in Eugene, isn't it? Fantastic speed, endurance and mental strength.
Both. And she's rounding into shape. It hasn't been the perfect start to her season for Muir. We saw her a couple of wobbly performances early on in the Diamond League, but she really seems to have clicked into gear. It was a fabulous bronze medal in Eugene behind that brutal pace by Faith Kipyegon, who's arguably the greatest female 1500-metre runner in history. And I thought that bronze medal was superb in Eugene, just, you know, especially in spite of the, you know, the disrupted start to the season. But that will mean a huge, huge amount to Laura Muir. This time, it's her turn to come out on top. And she makes history for Scotland. All those years, all those editions of the Commonwealth Games, all those great Scottish female middle distance runners and long distance runners have come through, and none of them until today have tasted gold in the 1500 metres. That is a moment of history for Scotland.
This was unfinished business, wasn't it, for Laura Muir? She was one of the first athletes to say, I'm coming to Birmingham to do these Commonwealth Games for Scotland when it was announced. Remember, she tripped in 2014 and had her dreams dashed. She didn't take part in 2018 because of her veterinary studies. She wanted this gold so badly. So very good for the Scottish team. McGeehan as well. There's an old teammate of mine there. Helen Clitheroe on the right of the shot. But that means so much to Laura Muir.
Brilliant, brilliant from Muir. She had the platform, she had the belief, and she had the stamina. Laura Muir becomes the Commonwealth champion. Ciara McGeehan with the race of her life for Northern Ireland, a wonderful silver, and Abby Caldwell was the best of all three of them.
Really, again, just gets her feet up, and that is always worth an extra 10 centimeters. 687, that is incredibly consistent and bodes well for the rest of the competition.